this question came in via voicemail as well, so let's take a listen to that voicemail.
I was reading the Bible the other night, and it said something about when heaven and earth pass away, or something along that line, and then it says, and a new heaven and earth will come. I'm wondering, why do we need a new heaven? A new earth I can see, but why would we need a new heaven?
That's a great question. Okay. That's true. I think sometimes we just read it and just quickly read it and just kind of like, yeah, new heaven, new earth.
Makes sense.
But we never stop to consider, why would we need a new heaven? We understand why we need a new earth. It's been damaged by sin, but why would we need a new heaven?
Well, perhaps she's referring to Revelation 21, verse 1.
So let's turn. Revelation
21, verse 1. I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and the sea was no more. And of course, we have in Matthew 5, verse 18, also referring to heaven and earth, until heaven and earth. Matthew 5, verse 18, where Jesus is about to go up on the mount to preach, and he says, "For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth pass away, no one letter, not one stroke will pass away from the law until everything is fulfilled." Now, the Bible uses the words that you translate heaven several times, maybe about 400 times. But it's not always referring to the same thing when it uses the term heaven. Shamayim, that's the Hebrew word for it. Now, you can go back to the Genesis account of creation to see what the Bible means generally when it speaks of heaven. In Genesis 1, verse 1, it says, "In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth." And then in 1 verse 8, where on the second day God separates the waters above and the waters below, and in between there's this dome that he calls heaven. Actually, it's the same word, but many translations refer to as sky. So when the Bible writers speak about heaven and earth in one breath, they're talking about the earth and its immediate atmosphere, which you refer to as heaven. So it's not talking about heaven where God lives. In fact, the Bible hardly refers to heaven where God lives. But that one word may be used to refer to to the entire universe, or it may be referring to the immediate atmosphere above the earth, as in the creation, the second day of creation that was created.
So I think knowing that information, do we know then why would there be a need for it? Is there a specific
reason? Because it's part of the earth. It's the earth's atmosphere. So when he says the heaven and the earth, they're actually referring to the earth and its atmosphere.
Of what we need.
Yes.
To the entire
yes.
Exactly.
It could also be referring to you can't say the universe, because we are the only one we think who are fallen. So in this case, it must be referring to the earth and its atmosphere.
Excellent. And is there anything you would like to add?
Yeah, I was going to just add two quick things. First, for the student who's studying this, the reference to a new heavens and a new earth, let me just give a couple of those. I'm not going to read those, but let me give them. Isaiah 65, verses 17 and verse 22, and then 2 Peter chapter 3, verses 10 and 13. Those all refer to this new heavens and the new earth. And I agree with everything that Dr. Hemmings has said, but there is one aspect where it's very interesting. Romans 8:22 talks about this. Romans 8, verse 22, and I will read this verse.
Okay, Romans 8:22.
It says this, "For we know that the whole creation groans and labors with birth pangs together until now." And this is a reference to prior to the second coming of Christ. And so when the new heavens and the new earth are created, yes, there is nowhere else in the universe that has sinned. However, the sin of this earth has tainted the entirety of creation. And so when sin is expunged from, and Dr. Hemmings just read this, when we were talking about the angels, when the lake of fire occurs and it expunges sin from the earth, it's really expunging sin from the entire universe. And no taint of it will ever exist. And that's why Nahum 1:9 says that affliction will never rise again, because there is this cleansing of the taint of sin, not only from this earth, but that taint that was on the whole creation of God.
Wow.
I think there's so much power in knowing that there's going to be a day where all sin is just going to be
absolutely
cleansed.